mission specialist on 2 space shuttle missions. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Sally Ride. A single mother of 3, she graduated from Wider Opportunities for Women here in the district and started Women's Work Incorporated to support women in non-traditional jobs. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Verlette Allen. Always committed to improving the health of women and families, she is a key leader of Girl Power and the first administrator of the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, the first Latina to head an agency at HHS. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Nelba Chavez. A woman firefighter at Station 10 in Parksville, Maryland. She puts her life on the line every day. She was hailed for rescuing a polio victim from a blazing fire in 1995 and awarded a medal for her heroic efforts in the Amtrak train tragedy of 1997. Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Robin Forster. She built one of the most illustrious athletic careers in the world, with 6 Olympic medals in track and field. Ladies and gentlemen, Jackie Joyner-Kersee. She is already a nationally recognized scientist at the age of 18. She graduated from Winona Senior High School in Minnesota and is on her way to Johns Hopkins University this fall. Ladies and gentlemen, Ann Jarvis Jefferson. And now, the President of the United States, the First Lady, and Education Secretary Richard Riley.
Good morning. Good morning. Please be seated and welcome to the White House and to this commemoration celebration. We are delighted to see so many of you here who have a direct interest in the legislation known as Title IX and who have worked for many years to put into action the promise of Title IX. On days like this, I feel either very young or very old when I think back to playing half-court basketball with 3 dribbles and a juggle. And thank you, that's good. That's good. And I remember once asking my coach why we couldn't play full-court basketball, and she looked sour, as well as sorrowful, when she said, well, you know, girls' hearts wouldn't take that kind of running. And now we have not only girls competing in high school and college, but professional basketball and so many other sports that young women are able to claim as their own. I also recall very well, as others of you in this room may, that there were certain schools I couldn't apply to when I was ready to apply to college because they didn't admit girls. There were certain scholarships and fellowships I wasn't eligible to apply for because they didn't take girls. And that is all within one lifetime, relatively short lifetime that I like to think of it as. And the changes that have occurred in just 25 years have been startling and wonderful. And we're going to hear from some of the people who have made that happen. But there's also work to be done, as the President will announce at the conclusion of the ceremony this morning. Because as much as has been accomplished on behalf of young women breaking academic and athletic barriers because they were given the support of legislation that stood behind coaches and parents and teachers who wanted them to have that opportunity, there is still some work that lies ahead. And one of the people who has been most active in promoting the goals of Title IX and ensuring that it is carried out is our current Secretary of Education, a man committed to the prospect that every young person in America can learn and can live up to high educational expectations if given the support and encouragement and held to high standards. And that's the Secretary of Education, Dick Riley.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate being introduced by that great backyard athlete, the First Lady. I've had the good fortune of knowing the First Lady for a long while now, close to 20 years, and I know that she is a woman of great character and strength, and one like the President who has committed her life to public service, committed to the great ideal of equality for which this nation stands. I had the good fortune to be in San Diego Saturday with the President when he gave his speech on race relations and our need to come together as a people. It was a powerful speech that this country really needed to hear. Mr. President, this is the third time in as many weeks that I've been here on education matter at the White House to hear you talk about what happens when we change our expectations of what American people can indeed achieve. 2 weeks ago, you signed the Individual with Disabilities Education Act, IDEA, into law, culminating years of effort by disabled Americans who told us that they were not willing to abide by an education system that is defined by low expectations for any child, disabled or non-disabled. Last week, we released a very important education report, the TIMSS report, an international study that told us when it comes to learning the basics of math and science, our nation's fourth graders are among the best in the world. Here again, we heard a story of what happens when we change expectations, raise standards, challenge our young people to use all the brain cells that God gave them. And today we are celebrating another sea change in expectations, one about what women can achieve. 25 years, America was a different place. We were a nation still limited in our thinking. We were seeking a new and deeper and broader definition of equality that included all of Americans. One reason of that search was the passage of Title IX. In the last 25 years, as a result of Title IX, millions of women have now gone on to get higher education. They have shattered stereotype after stereotype about what women can do on the job, and they have demonstrated that they are some of the best athletes in the world. America is more equal, more educated, more healthy, and I believe more happy and confident as a nation because of Title IX. Millions of young women are now growing up with a sense of confidence and high expectations that they can achieve whatever they set their minds to achieve. They do not intend to be told that they do not have the education or the skills they need to get the job that they want. They do not intend to be told that they cannot play the game and win. And they do not intend to put up with sexual harassment of any kind. I am pleased to tell you that Norma Cantu, my Assistant Secretary for Civil Rights, her fine staff are on the mark when it comes to enforcing Title IX. Last year, for the first time in 16 years, they issued new guidance for how colleges and universities can apply with Title IX when it comes to athletics, as well as issuing new guidance this year regarding sexual harassment of students. Mr. President, somewhere out there in America today, there are young women who are as committed to public service as the First Lady, who are as excited about science as Dr. Sally Ride, and who intend to run as fast as Jackie Joyner-Kersee. And I'll tell you, that's saying something. I told I was going to get to introduce Jackie. I told her I wanted her to run across the stage when I did. Jackie Joyner-Kersee has crossed the finish line in first place many, many times against the strongest competition in the world. Jackie Joyner-Kersee is a champion, though in many, many ways. She has won 6 Olympic medals. She is a 4-time world champion, and she is the world and Olympic record holder for the heptathlon. All this suggests to me that Jackie Joyner-Kersee is a woman of very high expectations. She believes in herself, she sets goals, and she does not let any obstacle get in her way. More importantly, she believes in giving back to her community and to her country. She co-authored a book entitled A Woman's Place is Everywhere, and that's what Title IX is all about. Mr. President, Jackie Joyner-Kersee. Mr. President, Jackie Joyner-Kersee represents the best that is America, and I have the great pleasure of presenting her to all of you at this time. Jackie?
Thank you. I would just like to say that I'm very honored to be here and talking about 25 years. And I was 10 at the time, but I started running track at the age of 9. And I really didn't understand why my coach would take us to his home, and he made a long jump pit for us in his backyard. And so we thought that was the common place for all girls to come and jump and learn how to do the long jump, but not realizing that girls weren't supposed to be competing in sports. And even when the law was passed in 1972, it wasn't enforced, because when I was in junior high as well as high school, there were times when my mom was thinking about taking me out of athletics because I had to come to practice at 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening. And she was very frightened that something might happen to me, and she didn't want me to get harmed, and she felt that if that's the only way that I could compete, then she didn't want me to do sports at all. So she told me to continue to read, continue to comprehend what I was reading and writing, and get an education, because she felt like that would take me places. But I told her, I really want to compete. I really want to be an athlete. You know, maybe can I just be a cheerleader? You know, I wanted to try it all. You know, I just wanted to be out there, and I wanted to be active. But she said to me that, Jackie, things are going to have to change. And eventually, the coaches, they started meeting with different people and telling people that they are not enforcing Title IX. You know, this is not fair, and they shouldn't have to do this. We shouldn't have to come to practice 8 o'clock in the evening and also try to get up early in the morning and try to get an education. And the one thing that I can say that because of Title IX, I'm here. You know, I am a recipient. I have benefited. But more importantly, it's because of you. You have fought the battles. You have won the war. We have to continue to fight. You know, women are striving, you know, but still, we got to do it for the engineers. Still, we got to do it for the non-traditional jobs. Still, we have to continue to make a place for women. A place is a woman's place. Everywhere is a woman's place. And you make the difference. You know, I commend you, the President, because it's you. You, the leader. You know, you got the initiative, and you're going to set the example, and you have made a difference. Thank you. And I say that from my heart, because that's what we need. We need leaders. And all of you sitting there, you blazed the trail. You made it possible for me. You made it possible for all of us. And as we continue the next 10, 15, 25 years, hopefully we can say that Title IX is continuing to be in existence to the fullest. You know, not just, we're not counting everybody, we counting everyone. And I thank you. Now, I have another job I have to do right now, introducing Ann Jefferson. She has distinguished herself as one of the most accomplished young scientists in our country. Ms. Jefferson is a U.S. Presidential Scholar and has won the Pinnacle Award at the Intel International Science and Engineer Fair. I was talking to Ann and I said to her, you know, is there something that you would like for me to say? And she said, well, explain to them what the Pinnacle Award is. And that is like winning an Olympic gold medal. She is the best of the best, you know. She is the best in the world, you know. And to say that, you know, you talk about girls can't compete with boys, she's doing it to the fullest. And come forward. Thank you.
It's an honor to be here in the presence of such wonderful role models, both male and female. I am here today because no one ever told me no. I do not mean that I was a spoiled child. I mean that no one ever told me I could not be a scientist because I am female. The other women on this stage have encountered and broken down barriers and paved the way for me and many others. I have the great fortune of growing up in a society where women can do almost anything. As a little girl, I loved to watch the mud eroding in the spring and the waves pounding the shore of Lake Superior. My innate curiosity was encouraged by my mother, herself a scientist who grew up in the ages before Title IX. She and her generation overcame numerous obstacles. Like many children, I did science fair projects in elementary school and middle school, and thanks to the support of my family and my teachers, my projects continued throughout high school. In the past 4 years, I have spent almost 5,000 hours studying sediment processes in the upper Mississippi River. I waded in the mud, drilled holes through ice 2 feet thick, analyzed data, mapped islands, and repaired boat motors, as well as many other very unladylike things. My hard work has been rewarded with numerous national and international awards, including this spring at the Intel International Science and Engineering Fair, where I was awarded the top overall prize. This year, I will be a first-year student at Johns Hopkins University, where I will study environmental earth science. Eventually, I hope to work in environmental law or public policy. But whatever path my career takes, I know that with hard work and a clear vision, I can succeed. I am proud to be participating in the 25th celebration of Title IX. President Clinton has been a courageous leader in the battle for equal access and opportunity for all Americans. A person who has provided inspiration and hope to me and many other young women like me who are taking non-traditional career paths. Mr. President and Mrs. Clinton, I thank you both for the chance to share in this historic event. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to the President of the United States.
Thank you. Thank you very much. As you might imagine, Hillary and I have looked forward to this day with great anticipation. And we have discussed these issues together for more than 25 years now. Actually, we met before Title IX. That's one thing I managed to do without the benefit of federal law. I thank Secretary Riley for his wonderful leadership. And thank you, Ann, for your introduction. You did so well. If you ever get tired of science, I think public affairs would treat you well. Thank you, Jackie, for being a wonderful role model and a great person. Thank you, Verlette Allen and Catherine Robin Forster, Dr. Nelvis Chavez. And I'd like to say a special thank you to Sally Ride and tell you that tomorrow is the 14th anniversary of her famous ride. And there's so many distinguished people in the audience, I hesitate to start, but I would be remiss if I did not thank former Senator Birch Bayh for his leadership in this endeavor. Thank you, sir.
You're a good man. I appreciate you. And I'd like to thank the 8th graders from the Thomas Edison Center for Technology who are here, and I hope are being inspired about the future. And I would like to ask the members of the Congressional Women's Caucus who are here to stand and be recognized. All the members of Congress who are here, please stand. Thank you. We are here to celebrate Title IX, but even more, we're here to celebrate the God-given talent of every woman and girl who has been benefited by it. Title IX did not create their successes, but it did give them the chance to make the most of their abilities. We have heard about the difference it has made in the lives of millions of young girls and young women. We know about the confidence that it has built, the expectations it has helped to set, the achievements it has helped to inspire. Today, I also want to say that, in my view, Title IX has had a beneficial impact on every American citizen. If we've learned anything in the last 25 years since Title IX became law, it is that expanding benefits and opportunities for any American helps the rest of us. Wasted opportunity diminishes all of us. As we prepare for the 21st century, it would be sheer folly for us not to take advantage of every ounce of energy and talent and creativity every American has to offer. As a nation, that should be our great concern. Think what we would be like if there were no Sally Rides or Jackie Joyner-Kersees, or any one of the countless women whose contributions have helped to make our nation a better place, including, I might add, the 8 women which now serve in the President's cabinet, a record number. Every girl growing up in America today should have the chance to become an astronaut or an Olympic athlete, a cabinet secretary or a Supreme Court justice, a Nobel Prize-winning scientist, or President of the United States. For 25 years, Title IX has helped girls to realize their dreams and to achieve them. A lot of people, believe it or not, still don't know this, to achieve them not only in athletics, but in academics as well. In addition to the remarkable athletic statistics, Secretary Riley told me today that in 1972, there were 300,000 girls in high school athletics. Today, there are 2.3 million. But in addition to the athletics, listen to this. In 1972, 9% of the medical degrees and 7% of the law degrees were awarded to women. In 1996, 38% of the medical degrees and 43% of the law degrees were awarded to women. So today, we celebrate how far we've come, but we must also recommit ourselves to Title IX's goal of equality in education. For too many schools and education programs still drag their feet and lag behind in their responsibility to our young women and girls. Today, I'm directing every agency and executive department of our government to strengthen their enforcement of Title IX within the next 90 days by reviewing current procedures, consulting with the Attorney General on the best way to improve them, and delivering to me a new and vigorous enforcement plan. Every school and every education program that receives federal assistance in the entire country must understand that complying with Title IX is not optional. It is the law, and the law must be enforced. There's no question that we're better off because of Title IX, but we can go even further to provide all people with the opportunity they deserve to make the most of their own lives. A lot of people don't know this either, but currently Title IX only applies to educational programs and activities that receive funding from the national government. Ironically, it does not apply to the programs that the national government runs itself. These include schools run by the Department of Defense, educational research conducted by the federal government, and educational fellowships awarded directly to students. I believe, and I surely hope that every American would agree, that the national government must hold itself to the same high standards it expects from everyone else, especially when it comes to discrimination in education. Therefore, today I have sent an executive memorandum to all the relevant federal departments to conduct a review of their programs over the next 60 days, report the review to the Attorney General, and then after I receive her recommendation, I expect to sign an executive order to prohibit educational discrimination on the basis of sex, race, or national origin in federally conducted education programs, thereby extending the principles of Title IX to federal programs themselves. Thank you. On the desk outside the Oval Office, there is a little sign with a quote from a woman who lives here in Washington. Here's what it says: "I rejoice in others' success, knowing there is plenty for us all." Today, we are celebrating, resolving, and moving forward to make sure that all of our people, and especially every one of our girls and young women, have the opportunities they deserve to make the most of their own lives. After all, there is plenty for us all. Indeed, I think you could make a compelling case that when other people succeed in a constructive manner, it creates more opportunities for success for the rest of us. Finally, let me just add one more item. There's something happening today that, like Title IX, marks a significant step forward toward helping all our young people achieve their full potential. When I reached a bipartisan budget agreement with the leaders of Congress last month, one of my top goals was to extend health care coverage to millions more of our young children. Believe it or not, 10 million children in this country still don't have health insurance. And more, a lot of employer-based health policies are not covering the whole family. It is no secret that this is something that Hillary and I have worked on for many years and care a great deal about. I fought very hard to ensure that $16 billion would be set aside in the budget agreement for this purpose. But we did not prescribe in the agreement how this money would be spent. The important thing is to use it wisely and carefully so that it provides meaningful coverage to as many children as possible. I am very pleased that a bipartisan group of senators in the United States Senate and on the Finance Committee have come up with some children's legislation that I believe offers that promise. So today I'm proud to say that I will endorse the legislation sponsored by Senators Chafee, Rockefeller, Jeffords, and Hatch. The Senate Finance Committee is voting on it today, and it will help to give a lot of our young children a healthy start in life, without which a lot of those young girls might not ever even be in a position to take advantage of Title IX. This legislation would be the biggest investment in children's health care since Medicaid passed in 1965. It would be the most significant thing that we could do, I think, by committing us to providing health insurance coverage to up to 5 million uninsured children and providing health insurance today that they didn't have yesterday. So we've got a chance once again to prove that if we'll put politics aside and work together, as we did so many years ago in the cause of civil rights, as we celebrate today with Title IX, we can make America a better place. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for the examples you set every day, and resolve tomorrow that you'll give another young woman or girl a chance to make the most of her God-given abilities. Thank you very much. for coming.
Why don't you come up around this way? Here, around this way. Just go back over there.
I know, I was sitting right there in the middle. I was sitting in the middle. What do you want me to do?